What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. We're going to do another SWI today in SWI, a still worth it video. And this video is super special because this is the first Android smartwatch that I've ever owned. There's a couple smartwatches that I want to review before the end of this year, but this is honestly pretty cool. And before I got an Apple Watch, I've always wanted like a Samsung Galaxy watch, the Gear line that they had. And eventually I got an Apple Watch and that kind of went out the window, but the Gear watches are something that I still admire, and I finally got my hands on it. Now there's two different models of the Samsung Gear S3. So there's the classic model and also the Frontier model, and I have the classic one right now even though it has the Frontier band. And as far as I know, there's really not too much of a difference between the two. It's just pretty much the way they look. All the functionality and everything are pretty much the same on both, so I don't really understand what the difference is. But other than that, we're going to take a look at it now. Now this thing actually came out in 2016 in August, so this year it'll actually turn 3 years old, and it doesn't really look that old of a watch, and honestly all watches look exactly like this, but I really like the design because it really just looks like a simple watch. Like if you're looking at this versus an Apple Watch, like you can tell an Apple Watch is an Apple Watch, but this thing you would have to get close to see whether it's like a real watch, an LCD watch, like a whatever type of just regular watch you can pick up at like Walmart for like $20. Now that might seem like a turn off to you guys, like, oh, I want to be flashy or whatever, but this watch is built very, very well. It doesn't feel like a cheap watch at all. Some of the bands, like the band that I have right now, it doesn't feel too premium, but you can always just swap that out. On the front, it does have a 1.3-inch Super AMOLED display, and the resolution is 360 by 360. It is a circle, but I don't think it's a bad resolution at all. Obviously, it's a much smaller display, so it doesn't really even matter the resolution of it. But I really like the way that the bezel actually turns. So the bezel around the watch, the little like knob thing, you can actually turn that and get some cool functionality out of it. Now, you can almost mimic the same exact thing with the touchscreen, but I think it's a really cool thing, and it's a really funny pastime if you guys just want to like turn that around while you're just waiting on the bus, or you're waiting for your mom to finish cleaning up the house while you can go do something. Like, it's a cool thing. You can just keep turning the bezel. It's like clicking the pen. It's like clicking the tip of the pen like over and over again. It's like a time passer or something. Ultimately, the way the Gear S3 is built very, very well. It does not feel cheap. Other than the bands, it doesn't feel cheap at all in my opinion. Now the software that's running it, it's kind of weird. It's the Tizen-based wearable platform 4.0. That's the software. I don't know why they call that, but whatever. And I definitely think that in terms of a watch, a smartwatch, the Samsung Gear S3 has more functionality than an Apple Watch. I'm just going to say it. I hate to say it. I use an Apple Watch. I'm wearing one right now as I'm recording this audio. And I think that this watch and even other like Android watches have more functionality than an Apple Watch. If you think about it, you're pretty much narrowed down on what your Apple Watch can do than what a Gear watch can do. And now with watchOS 6, there's a little bit more functionality. You can now download apps and straight through the Apple Watch, which is really nice. But the Gear S3 has had that for a while, and even though on my specific unit it didn't really work that well, you still had that functionality. And I think because it is a circle, you have a bigger area of viewing the specific things that you're looking at onto the screen. And the watch faces of the Samsung Gear are super cool, and I like those a lot more than I do on the watch faces on my Apple Watch. So I don't know, kind of quick things I wanted to hit on right there. It's not the end of the world or anything, but I do find it kind of annoying that, a watch that came out in 2016 has more features than a watch that came out just on like 2017 and 2018 even. So a cool thing to keep in mind though is that it might be advantage to you, it might not be, but the watch does have a lot of heft to it. It definitely feels like a heavy watch. My Apple Watch doesn't really feel like it. I mean, it feels like a good size, and I'm so used to wearing this one, but on the Gear S3, it has a lot of heft to it. If you're not somebody who likes a heavy watch, this might not be the one for you, but I definitely do like the size of it. I'm not even gonna lie. And in terms of just the features and everything, like I said, I do think it ultimately does have better features than an Apple Watch, but it's not really getting software support anymore as far as I know, and I just feel like there's not a lot of apps that are being developed for Android watches right now. I mean, it's still there and people are still creating things and counterparts for the watches, but I just feel like for the most part, I feel like there's more developers for the Apple Watch than there are for the Gear S3. So even though there's natively more features built into Gear S3, over time, I think the Apple Watches will be able to keep up. In terms of battery life, this thing is 3 years old, so it might have depreciated a little bit. It has a 380 mAh battery inside of it. It's a decent sized battery. I mean, you can definitely get a day out of it, no doubt. But because the screen is pretty big and it's also a pretty bright screen and it's an AMOLED, Super AMOLED at that, I doubt you'll be able to get more than like a day and a half out of it. But I don't think it's a horrible battery life. Most people charge their watch by the end of the day anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. So ultimately, to kind of sum this whole entire thing up, is the Samsung Gear S3 worth it in 2019? I will definitely say absolutely. I don't think there's anything really hindering me from recommending it. If you currently have no watch or anything like that, and if you have an Android phone, then yeah, get it. Even if you have an iPhone, it's not a horrible watch. It definitely feels very, very good. If you get a band that feels very premium, then you can definitely have a very solid option on your hands. But I still think, looking on the future, maybe the Apple Watch might be the smarter way to go. I feel like I said, more app developers are creating for the Apple Watches, not necessarily for Android watches right now, or at least for the Gear S3, and I don't know how much longer this one is still going to be supported. So that's kind of an important thing to know. But man, if you want to pick up a Gear S3, I'll leave a link in the description. It'll be the first link down there. If you purchase it through those links, a little bit of that revenue comes back to the channel, and we could do more videos like this and more giveaways and all that stuff. So it'll mean so much if you guys could do that. But that is pretty much it. If you guys have any other questions or anything, leave it down in the comment section as well. Hit that like button, that'll mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. Every single subscriber that we get really does count, so it'll mean so much if you guys could hit that. Also, check out the other links down in the description as well. My Twitter, my Instagram, my second channel, all those links are linked down below. I would really appreciate if you guys could check it out. But more importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys, and hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.